Hello, my name is Mario Kaywood, and this is a presentation on human movement and how it relates to dunking. Okay, as you see, before Chris begins to take off, he gathers himself, and in this motion, you can see that the knee angle is at a 90-degree angle, and this position is referred to as knee flexion, and this is an eccentric motion before the jump. And the joint that will be used is the synovial joint, and the muscles that will be used to help him elevate will be the quads and the calf muscles. Another thing that will help Chris to elevate before he actually jumps would be in the ankle, and the joints that would be used are the anterior and posterior telafibular ligament. During this motion, Chris is doing a concentric motion, and he's flexing actually before he jumps. The muscles that will be used are the peroneal, the calf muscles, and the anterior tibialis muscle in the ankle. In this phase, both the ankle and the knee can be considered in the transverse plane. Also, the joints that hold it together are the lacunar and the pectineal ligaments. This movement before actually elevating off the ground is considered concentric because the abdominal muscles contract. And for this phase, the trunk would be considered on the frontal plane, and the knee flexion and extension would be on the transverse plane. Okay, as we go into phase 2, Chris is beginning to jump, and as you can see on the hips, it is transitioning from flexion, which was earlier presented in phase 1, to now midway extending to allow elevation. This movement in phase 2 for the hips will be considered eccentric because the hips are actually elongating and extending to allow him to elevate. Okay, so for phase 2 of the knee, as you can see, it is about to fully extend, but not quite yet. And this is because of the built-up tension that was previously shown in phase 1 through the flexion. And for phase 2 of the trunk, it was earlier contractile in the abdominal muscles, but now as he's about to take off, it elongates to allow the energy to be transferred to allow him to elevate off the ground. As you can see, in phase 3, Chris has fully elevated off the ground. Some factors that helped him elevate would be the knee fully extending, the ankle also fully extending, and the muscles that helped him get off the ground would be the quads and his calf muscles. Also, to help his body stretch out to be able to dunk, the trunk had to fully elongate to allow him to do so. And the last part that allows him to actually dunk would have to be the shoulder. And in this process, the shoulder fully extends and elevates. This movement can be considered a concentric movement, and the joint that holds this all together would be the AC joint. The two muscles that use to help Chris actually dunk would be the anterior deltoid and the pectoralis major, and this movement occurs on the sagittal plane.